Forgotten Kid, the indie studio behind 2017's AER, Memories of Old, is closing its doors after 7 years on releasing demos for its unreleased and unannounced projects on itch.io. As a result, studio founder and CEO Robin Hill spoke candidly about the coming closure in a Medium post, saying that ultimately the fault lies in being unable to find ways to sustain a growing studio despite everyone's best efforts to do so. The answers are probably many and nuanced, where we will surely fall to whatever the opposite of survival bias is called when trying to find explanations. Sage out. One answer is probably the market's development, another personal misjudging of priorities, and a third the inherent problem between making business out of creativity and art. Along with a small reflection on the journey of the studio, Hill shared contact and portfolio information for the artists, programmers, designers, and producers that will be looking for work once the studio officially closes its doors. That information, alongside links to the team's final projects, can be found in the full Medium write-up. Westworld Mobile has shut down just 2 weeks after developer Behavior Interactive and publisher Warner Brothers settled a lawsuit brought against it by Bethesda. Bethesda initially accused both companies of copyright infringement and misappropriation of trade secrets back in June, after noticing more than a few similarities between Westworld Mobile and Fallout Shelter. The Fallout developer subsequently took legal action and said that Westworld Mobile creators had outright copied the same or highly similar game design, art style, animations, features, and other gameplay elements as Fallout Shelter. Although Warner Brothers and Behavior said the accusations against them were completely baseless, they eventually settled the lawsuit after reaching an unknown agreement with Bethesda. Now, around 2 weeks after that agreement was brokered, Warner Brothers has pulled the title from sale and switched the lights off for good. We are sorry to see the Westworld mobile game go, and had an incredible time creating the content and events for players to enjoy, reads a message posted on Twitter. We deeply appreciate our community's enthusiasm and participation in the game. Pic. Twitter.com/7ns7 Castle Code. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate surpassed 3 million sales in the U.S. during its first 11 days on shelves, according to Nintendo's own internal sales data. That makes Ultimate the fastest-selling Switch game of all time in the States, and also the fastest-selling title in the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. The massive brawler has been performing well in other regions as well, having sold 1.23 million copies in Japan during its launch weekend, another record for the series. Meanwhile, Nintendo also revealed the Switch has been the fastest-selling current-gen console in the U.S. for the past 21 months, having sold more than 7 million units in that time. Those hardware sales, however, do not account for the launch of Ultimate, which Nintendo claims will give the Switch extra impetus as the holidays continue. Sony Interactive Entertainment has penned an agreement that will see the company pick up full ownership of Audio Kinetic, the company behind game dev tools like the widely used on the middleware Toolwise. The exact terms of the arrangement were not offered in a press release detailing the acquisition, but at the close of the deal, Audio Kinetic will officially become a wholly owned Sony Interactive Entertainment subsidiary. Seed President and CEO John Codera notes that the acquisition aims to help grow both PlayStation as a platform and the game industry itself, but assures that the purchase will not cut Audio Kinetic off from non-PlayStation platforms. Following the finalized acquisition, Audiokinetic is to remain independent and continue to offer its tools to game makers regardless of what platform they are developing for. Everything developer David O'Reilly. David O'Reilly's Everything, a follow-up to his 2014 game Mountain, is an unconventional open-world game that does not rely on quests or other familiar design tropes to get players to navigate the world. Instead, it builds a game world that exists from the largest to smallest most possible levels and encourages players to become every object in those environments, which range from planets to lines to buildings to cells to one-dimensional objects. It's not a game with a win state per Southeast, and it does not encourage any competition or conflict. But as O'Reilly explained to us today on the Gamasutra Twitch channel, there was a lot of thought put into the game's seemingly undriven nature. For one, O'Reilly says the game largely became possible after experimenting in different dimensions and realizing it was possible to bring any object into life. I got really excited about every object in the universe being a playable character. O'Reilly told us that led to thinking about groups of things, and how everything is a member of a group. Leaving at that, O'Reilly also felt like there was a link between this kind of experimentation and the works created in the early days of animation, when 2D animators worked to bring all kinds of objects to life, even ones that had no life at all. Far more insight from O'Reilly on the development of everything, including how the game's cheap movement animations for animals are actually very complex, and how he compares his work in 3D animation versus game development. Be sure to watch the full video seen above, and if you enjoyed this conversation, you can follow the Gamasutra Twitch channel for more developer interviews, editor roundtables and gameplay commentary. If you want to level up your skills and make better, more successful virtual reality experiences, this year's Game Developers Conference in San Francisco is a great place to be. There's a ton of great VR content in store. Are you at BD 2019 in March? Much of it wrapped up in that all-day virtual reality developers conference, VRDC, that kicks off ED, and is packed with informative VR talks. For example, in Embracing Chaos, Designing for Emergent Gameplay in VR, Ultimate Labs, Job Simulator, Vacation Simulator, Chris Wade will share insight on the best ways to give players the freedom and tools for creative play, using case studies from Rick and Morty, Virtual Reality and Vacation Simulator. Wade will teach you about Ultimate's design philosophy, and give you a greater understanding VR interaction affordances, and the technical scope of emergent gameplay systems. With the night was inspiring you to embrace chaos in while you role WN games, and in engaging VR storytelling, a most post-mortem, polyarchivist, Karen Scrivens will go over the process and the methodology that the studio went through while working on its good mouse milestone. Figure out how to tell compelling stories in VR, in ways that play to the strengths of the medium. She will go over the lessons Polyak learned creating within these limitations, and how such constraints actually led to more creativity. Come to this talk if you want to learn how to deliver narrative in a way that takes best advantage of the VR medium, as well as proven strategies on how to best do this within the realities of production. You also will not want to miss Shaping Culture in Social VR, Lessons from the Wild, especially if you are interested in, invested in, a VR game with a social component. Presented by Social Emotional Technology Lab researcher Joshua McVeigh Schultz. This talk gathers insights from industry experts to propose a design framework for supporting the kinds of positive social interactions you want to have in this new medium. Drawing from games like recommend interviews with industry experts, this talk identifies specific design lessons related to onboarding, aesthetics of place, context cues, embodied affordances, meta bridging, social mechanics, and modulation. There's also a fascinating session on enhanced immersivity, using speech recognition for more natural player-eye interactions, that you should make time to see if you are at all curious about how complementary tech can help your games feel more real and alive.